Namaskar. Happy evening to everyone to Chat with Champ show. मत सोच कि तेरा सपना क्यों पूरा नहीं होता. हिम्मत वालों का इरादा कभी अधूरा नहीं होता. जिस इंसान के कर्म अच्छे होते हैं उसके जीवन में कभी अंधेरा नहीं होता. This quote is specially carved for our champion for the day, Miss Ananya, who is joining us for the show. Ananya, hearty welcome to you to this Chat with Champ show.
Thank you so much for that really warm welcome. I really appreciate those words.
Great. The world is watching you. I know there is no अच्छाई की सीमा नहीं होती है. There is no boundary for goodness. You can keep doing goodness wherever you are and spread goodness all through. So we welcome you to this show, Chat with Champ. Viewers, Ananya has been part of Indian Development Foundation's goodness journey. Goodness journey is always with a lot of spreading happiness. And through her college days, that is from her grade 11, she has been part of IDF volunteering, and defining new project has been her passion. Defining new project. In fact, Ananya, we remember that you were part of our dignity program. You are part of LLP program. We are going to talk all those things in our Chat with Champ show. And also particularly your volunteering has been a great thing, right? Students in Mumbai Urdu School always remember you had done one or two times, and again you have repeated. Though we have a time difference, we have a time now. You are at a different part of the world, but still we are connected. Connectivity is very important. So goodness, there is no place wherever in whichever part of the world you are. So you are spreading goodness. Can we hear your goodness journey, Ananya?
Definitely. It's a really interesting story because technically it started in 2016 when when I was at St. Xavier's, and that's where I met Nivedha, and Nivedha had introduced me to IDF and the IDF family, and we started with volunteering at Mumbai Urdu High School where we would teach English every every Fridays for quite some time, and from there we moved on to doing so many different projects. We did Dignity Project. There was a language literacy project that came in. But it's funny because there's this plaque in my home in my fourth grade. I had actually done a funding drive for IDF. So I feel like IDF has been a part of my journey since a very long time. And I didn't even realize that it has been a part. I was talking to my mother about IDF's journey and about Pillai sir, about Narayan sir, and my mom was telling me how my apupa, my grandfather, is actually was friends with Pillai sir. So I feel like IDF has been a part of my journey without even realizing, and I feel like the journey's just started, and there's so much more to come.
Yeah, great. Though there can be problem with network, but as I said earlier, no network can stop the connectivity, the goodness being to the people. And I remember the relation. You said that your grandfather was a friend of Dr. A.R.K. Pillai, who is the founder of Indian Development Foundation. And this goodness talk happens in the family. Maybe at the dinner time, maybe at when you're at school days, when you come back home, the good things are being shared, are being discussed. I also remember. I think you're a part of the New Horizon School,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Yes. And you received an information coming to your home saying that IDF is working. I think from school days onwards you were part, and then again in your junior college you came back, and
Mhm.
in the undergrad program. Though you are not here, but still you continue to do good job. The best project that was very closer to your heart, I think it was Dignity Project to start, when you got connected to the volunteers, the medical team particularly. As we could scale up from personal hygiene 12, that was our main program earlier, personal hygiene for the girls. And then you thought that, yes, we should now take it up in a big way. So I think if the ray of hope for dignity to take it to a level two or 2.0 was given by Ananya. So how was the journey? How did that thought process came in? Girl, child, dignity for girl matters, and all those things.
Definitely. I remember having this conversation about with Sir about PH12 and the impact that PH12 had. And what I realized was that this project has to reach more girls. Like this project has to reach other parts of India. And it was with my friend Vandana, who's I think watching this live, and we were thinking about how we can rename, like sort of rebrand this project and make it better and make it more far-reaching. And that's where the Dignity Project, the idea came in. The Dignity Project is something that I think that's close to every woman's heart because it's I think it's my privilege to say that I don't have to think about access to menstrual hygiene products. It's my privilege that I've been provided with these things. And the idea was to make sure that it's not a privilege and becomes a right. It becomes that something that everybody has access to. So what we did was we teamed up with Caduceus, which is a volunteer team run by medical students, and what they did was they paired up with us and we started giving menstrual hygiene workshops. And along with these workshops in different municipal schools across India, across different IDF Bal Gurukul schools, we started administering these workshops and at the same time distributing menstrual hygiene products. And I think Nayan sir's guidance in this whole project has been really crucial. We've had a lot of help in terms of a lot of doctors participating in this project. And I think the Dignity Project has to scale up. It has to be something that a lot of girls across the world, not even in India, have access to, because menstruation is the reality of so many girls. And I think access to menstrual hygiene products is a basic human right for all these girls.
That's awesome. From the initial thought, I remember the school students or college students are the people, are the torch bearers. We can say they give us ideas. They give us ideas, and then we implement ideas. Uh,
Mhm.
Dignity project, as we say, personal hygiene for the girls, menstrual awareness program. We started with the students who came from Madras School of Social Work from Chennai. We started in
Mhm.
24. Though it was at a slow pace, which were done by the volunteers of IDF in a small way. And your joining and connecting to that caduceus group has been a great impact. So the medical fraternity joining hands with IDF, and later on, of course, Team AMSA, that is Asian Medical Students Association, also came forward. So these are the medical students who are into the final year, second year, third year. They are all a great asset who convey the message to the people. So your connectivity has been so great. So what are the two projects that you visited yourself to some of the schools along with the Rotary, along with the Caduceus team, and did the program? I think it was Children's Public School. Later on, you also went to Prabodhan Vidya Niketan Marathi School in Malad. How was this journey all about in dignity, providing dignity? I know for you, dignity matters.
Absolutely. I remember I was working with Vandana and we were brainstorming it was the first session that was going to be held for Dignity Project, and we were brainstorming how we'll administer this workshop, how will it go. And we sat down with the Caduceus volunteers and we sort of made this presentation. And it was walking through the basics of menstrual hygiene. That's something that we learn about, something that my mom, she's a doctor, so she has always told me about these things. And our idea was to make this information that's very scientific, which should be something that all girls know about their own body, and but make that information accessible to them, make it seem like something that they can understand. It's not too complicated. So we sat down, we made that presentation, and the next day when we went into the school, looking at these girls, meeting these girls changed everything. They were so happy that we were there. They welcomed this knowledge in a way that we never expected to, and they were so engaging at the same time. We had a lot of interesting conversations about their menstrual hygiene practices, about our menstrual hygiene practices, and I think it was the first time that these girls had this opportunity to have an open discussion about their menstrual hygiene, about their own bodies. And so it was really interesting to have medical students on board as well, because they could ask very nuanced, very medical, very scientific questions that maybe I don't know about. And it was very it was very helpful to have that conversation. And after the workshop came in the actual menstrual hygiene product drive, and there were some students who used to not who didn't use pads, and they had this access to these pads, and there were students who relied on cloth and other not so safe methods of menstrual hygiene products, but they were able to transition into something that into pads, which is something that is so taken for granted by a lot of women like me. And it was really humbling to be part of this process, I would say.
Yes, you thought it is very pertinent to have scientific information being passed on to the girls, to the women, but also, in fact, there are a lot of volunteers from the
Hmm.
medical. Oh, it has gone a long way from the time that you have connected. So the medical students are waiting, whether it is Punjab or whether it is Rajasthan, wherever they can be part, whether it is UP, BR. So they are all ready. Sir, next, where is the program that you are going to take? And the first code that we made during the lockdown, there is no lockdown for menstrual cycle. We all need to reach out to the basic needs of the women. So
Hmm.
that was the point that we had taken even during this COVID pandemic. We have supplied very good materials during this time. And I'm sure the viewers will be knowing and getting sensitized to the need for the dignity for women, which is very, very important. And you are giving level 2, that is 2.0, for dignity. Also the name, I know we were debating and I was on a crossroad thing somewhere, and then we had to finalize the date, and we were supposed to come up with the name. How do we launch? The launch was all set, so we thought, let us, the dignity is what is very important,
Absolutely.
being part of this journey. In the pages of history, when it will be written about the success of Dignity program, where we will be reaching millions and millions of people across the globe, Ananya will be there. Ananya has been instrumental in connecting and seeing that medical team coming forward, connecting hospitals and medical students to the program is very, very important. So there is again, we say the blessings that come in. You need to have just the vision, and you see, with vision and passion you can reach to your milestones, which is very, very important. I know your passion for volunteering and again connecting, you are also instrumental as you are looking into the leadership program which IDF has been organizing through volunteers and giving them life skills to people. And you came up with a brilliant idea. Volunteers can also help with the linguistic language program. So how did this program, like SLP to LLP,
Hmm.
uh, it is very, very important, right? Students who are into the vernacular school and non-English medium schools, how will they cope up with? I know there were two girls who helped us from Minnesota in USA, where they used to teach children
Hmm.
online, where technology was very important. So how volunteering you could take it up, and how this LLP birth was given, Ananya?
Definitely. I have this thing which is Angrezi chale gaye, but Angrez chhod gaye. And so we live in this, in the world that we live in is, in India especially, English is so important in the corporate world, or whether if you want to move up in the social rings, it's so important to know English, which is very strange because India is is a country with 21 languages, and but even amongst all these languages, English has so much importance. And when I was volunteering with Niveda in 2016 at Mumbai Urdu High School, um, it was so clear that even though English was a second language that they were learning, that there was this big knowledge gap where some of them didn't even know the alphabet, the English alphabet, even though they were in their ninth and 10th grade. So something was really missing in the education system. There was some gap that you could see. When I was studying in Canada, I was part of this homework zone. It was a mentorship program where I would go to schools to public schools in Canada, and I would be mentoring some 13-year, 14-year-old kids, and we would be having a one-on-one session where it was more of interpersonal development, where I would guide them through their schoolwork. Um, and it was a very holistic experience for me and for the student. I would hope so. I hope to think so. So from that homework zone experience in Canada at McGill University, I thought there's a way to sort of bridge this knowledge gap through mentoring. And that's when I reached out to a friend called Sanika and her wonderful team at Podar School, and they were really open to this idea. And from there came the language literacy project, which is basically, we paired up together and we decided to sort of establish a little mentorship project with the help of IDF. And we paired up with the Gandhigram Municipal School in Juhu. So my friends like Sonika and her whole team of mentors would go every Saturday, spend 2 hours with these kids, teach them English, teach them the basic alphabet, and give them more holistic experience of what learning a language is. And we would set up workshops. We would write learning modules, and we would set up modules and sort of teach them um, these basics. And this is something that actually I see Naveda in the comments, and I think this is literally 2016 was the birth of the language literacy project. And it's really interesting. There's so many things that I take for granted. Me learning English, me knowing English in the first place was something that I took for granted. It was a privilege that I had because I went to private school, maybe. and this is a resource that not everybody has access to. And that's where projects that IDF does, like Speak to Lead, and whether it's the leadership project or whether it's the language literacy project, plays an important role in bridging that gap that exists um, between students across India. Like not everybody has access to the same resource, and I think these projects are important in sort of bridging that gap in resources, I would say.
Awesome. I think wonderful. I think as you're talking, we should, you connected us to the Caduceus team, and then you helped us with the language literacy program, and it was very successful with that Gandhi Gram School. I think you have also continued, though you were away from India, but still coordinated with Sanika and saw that the project is completed very well. Yes, we need to thank Niveda as she's also watching this program. But for Niveda, Ananya would not have come. So very, very important.
Absolutely.
We should, because that's a chain. The goodness is a magnet. It gets connected, and a lot of people get connected to the goodness journey, and they try to do. I have done something good. Let me also see that my friends, my relatives, my connects, they also do good job. So that has been the journey all through. So you have been a great inspiration for people, for students particularly. And I remember discussing about taking up projects of dignity into Canada, into maybe in the Montreal area, and also into other places like maybe in USA. We also discussed about taking up the program in African continent. And I know these were all in the cards. I'm sure the wish and the dream that you have kept up, we will work together and see how we can take it up. Your vision on taking goodness beyond boundaries, you didn't see that, okay, I am from Mumbai, from a certain point, certain place. So not, containing work to smaller area, but looking global, looking your vision as global. How is that all that has come up? I know your exposure to Canada would have certainly given, but the need you are assessing sitting at one place to need that are required in different parts of the world. How is that?
I think it's very interesting because I feel the human needs are, they transcend boundaries. So women need access to menstrual products in India. They need access to menstrual products in Africa. They need it everywhere around the world. And I think what the project in I see like the project that IDF has like a master plan, has like a way of addressing these solutions in a very unique way. I think the model of Dignity Project is something that can be taken anywhere and everywhere. You just need medical volunteers, you just need access to these resources, and you need to connect these people. And I think the goodness of the Dignity Project can be taken across different boundaries. While being at Canada, I feel like I think I think the purpose of life has to be more than just studying, has to be more than just making money, and you have to find ways to make impact wherever you are in whatever way you can. And some of the things that I've been interested in recently has been providing agriculture insurance to farmers. I think I'm studying economics and finance right now, and I think what my true calling is to sort of apply my knowledge in economics and finance in helping farmers. I think one of the main projects that I was trying to get involved with is Zua Microfinance. What they try to do is provide insurance to farmers against climate change. Climate change is a reality for a lot of people right now, and it has impacted some some folks more than the others, and especially the farmers are the one. We see farmers even in Vidarbha, like they are adversely impacted by these climate change things, and that we don't experience as much. And I think there are ways, there are tools to sort of benefit them, whether it's insurance tools or whether it's other financial tools. And when I feel wherever you are, you have to find ways to make your existence much more meaningful to you. And I think through IDF, I've been able to do that.
Wonderful. So you could assess that the need, wherever, in whichever part of the world you are, the basic need remains same for anyone,
Hmm.
irrespective of the time zones, irrespective of the geographical placement that you are. The need is common, and of course there are haves and have-nots in all these places, and we need to reach out. I'm sure, along with IDF and Ananya, we will all do this, the mission of reaching out beyond boundaries. We did get applications and requests from African countries too for the project. So I will certainly see that you can vet those documents and see that how we can reach out to these places. Your journey through LLP has been also great. So now with this lockdown period where people are unable to move out, the teachers are not able to teach, what happens to those children who are unable to have a gadget in their hand and get their class going? So the education is also in standstill in some way or the other. I remember one of the few Balagurukul that we are running, where
Hmm.
they say they have been teaching children very well, and now during this lockdown, they are off the education for a longer period of time. That's from March to October. Those who do not have gadgets in their hand. So there's a kind of a digital divide that has happened.
Hmm.
Not have this the gadgets in hand, so communication is not reaching them. So they're not, the teachers are not reaching them, the school is not reaching them. So how do we mitigate, how do we bridge this digital divide, how do we bridge this digital gap, which is a need of the hour, though IDF has started a mission which is going to take place, helping students who need gadgets during this lockdown period. So your say on this digital divide and the need to bridge the gap of this digital divide.
I think this digital divide is so interesting, and it's something that not a lot of people, I think, realize, because I think for folks like us, the technology is everywhere. I had a week where my laptop was not working, and I felt like I could not do school, I could not do a lot of things. And that's when I truly realized that this is the reality for a lot of people. And in this, during this lockdown, I think something that we have to recognize is that education, it was getting access to education was hard, but during a lockdown when you don't have access to technology, it's even more harder. So I think it's our duty to to bridge this digital divide. And I think IDF has a very unique solution where we can provide access to a student's education through a gadget that costs only 8,000, if I'm not wrong, sir. And which this, if this 8,000 cost is divided amongst the 12 months of the year, and then we make in monthly installments, it's so much more easy for us to sponsor a child's education, sponsor a child's digital education. And I think during this time it's important that we all come together and help people who actually who are in need, to ensure that these students can continue with their education and continue to prosper in ways that they can.
Great. So two missions we are looking from here. One is dignity, that is the need for the women and the girls, and the digital divide. How do we bridge the gap? Which is very, you have rightly put across that yes, people can come forward and support either with their gadgets or extra gadget that they have, which are in very good usable way, or people can also contribute. People want to help others, but if they do not have an extra gadget, of course, monetarily, if the money they seem to be a bigger one divided by 12,
Mhm.
fragment, see that yes, a smaller amount goes to the kitty of the students' education program. So these are all ways and means by which we need to see that education does not stop. Education should continue. Education is the weapon which can make the world, is the biggest pillar of development of any country. So your inspiration has been your family and your friends who have been coming together. So what is your aim in life, Ananya?
Definitely. I think when I think about my aim in life, I think about two distinct things. One is about where do I want to go when it comes to my career, and the other is how do I want to live this life. And I think when it comes to career, I found my passion. I found my subjective passion, I guess, which is going to be economics and finance. It has I truly enjoy learning more about this subject, and that's going to be my sathi forever. How do I want to live this life? I think I personally have realized that money will not be is not it. I living in the corporate world would not be enough for my soul. Um, I think being involved with IDF has enriched my life so much, and I think I want to continue using access to resources that I have to make some kind of impact in this world. And so going ahead, I want to find new ways to sort of collaborate and brainstorm and come up with solutions to problems that we see everywhere around us, whether it's women's dignity, whether it's education, whether it's digital divide. And I think when we come together and sort of think about these problems together, I think that's when we start solving these problems. And I think that's where I want to go ahead in my life with.
Great. Passion. So passion is what you have chosen, right?
Mhm.
And with passion, I think when the mission, vision, when you have vision and blended with passion, I think you're at the right path and you'll reach where you want to. You have been instrumental in doing newer things, taking things project to different places, to the different parts of the country and the world. And your inspiration also has been that yes, the students in different schools and colleges should take up this responsibility. Connecting students has been again your main forte. You are a great instrument, Ananya. Your contribution to IDF, or rather, we should say, development of this country and the world. I can see a great leader is born in Ananya, and you are connecting many people as we go ahead. Goodness, there is no boundaries at all, and which you have demonstrated. I know there are a lot of students who have gone, who are connected with IDF, who have gone abroad. Still, the connection remains with them. When our founder, Dr. Pillai, talks about that, the volunteers who were there 40 years back have become grandparents now, and their grandchildren are connected with IDF. So there is a legacy of goodness. So there is a chain of goodness, and this will continue. So you have been awesome, Ananya, and we thank you for being part of this goodness journey and helping the moment. Your message to the youth who are watching this program.
To the youth that are watching this program, I think would be to not lose hope. I feel like when we see these problems, when we look at the lockdown, the problems seem insurmountable to some extent. But I think if you really if you really reach out to your networks, if you really reach out to even IDF, I think there are ways to address the problems that you see. I think it's important to not be dissatisfied or discouraged by the problems that you see in this world, and it's important to see it as a problem-solving thing. Like look at it as a problem in your math exam, and you have to find a solution to it. And I think it's so important to reach out to these resources to believe in yourself in some extent, and to believe that these changes can be brought about. Is so important. Yeah, I think that's going to be my message to the youth and message to myself for the years to come. Thank you so much, sir, for having me here. It's been an
Thank you.
amazing experience to be part of IDF, and I
Thank you.
really cannot thank you enough for it.
Thank you so much, Ananya, and wish you a great journey as you travel down this goodness journey. God bless you.
Thank you.
You are watching this Chat with Champ program and the message given by Ananya, believe in yourself. Don't give up. These are the wonderful guidelines that any youth would like to receive from a youth, and Ananya has been instrumental in reaching out and touching upon many lives in her journey. So we thank Ananya and many champions who have been part of this goodness program. Chat with Champ is one such show which brings the volunteers, which brings the champions, and listen to them, their journey through the goodness. And we are waiting for the next champion who is going to talk about the meals program and sponsoring education, being in grade 10, how a student can do. So these are some of the things which he will be carrying out in the upcoming Chat with Champ program. Keep watching Chat with Champ program. Believe in yourself. God bless.